Ben Stiller's new documentary, Stiller and Meara, Nothing is Lost, has become the stage for the most raw, unfiltered discussion of his life, not just his parents' story, but his own as a father. In the film, his two adult children, Ella, 23, and Quin, or Quinlin, or 20, don't mince words. They confront the man who is both a superstar and their dad, exposing wounds, regrets, and a complicated love that's taken years to untangle. Ben always believed he would do better in parenthood than his legendary parents, Jerry Stiller and Meara. He watched them tour, perform, disappear for weeks at a time, and he vowed he'd never make the same mistakes. But in the documentary, what unfolds is not a triumph but a reckoning, and it's deeply human. Quin's voice breaks through in one of the most gutting moments. After a tough day, or if something was going wrong, you can kind of get into your own head. It's hard to get you out of it. You have all these hats that you're trying to balance, being a director, an actor, a producer, a writer, but also just like a father. And sometimes I felt that would come last to these other things. That line echoes inside the film's narrative over and over, the feeling that fatherhood was an afterthought. And Quin doesn't hide how it felt growing up, overshadowed, sidelined, waiting for a dad who was somewhere else. Ella doesn't sugarcoat her experience either. In a voice full of quiet hurt, she tells him, "I literally can't ever remember you being around when I was growing up." In that simple, unvarnished sentence lies decades of absence. She speaks not from bitterness, but from a longing to be seen. And then Ben, caught between pride, shame, and emotional exposure, doesn't run. He listens, he asks, he admits. He confesses that he once cut Ella's brief cameo from The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, calling it probably the worst decision I ever made in my life. It's a decision rooted not in cinematic necessity alone, but in perfectionism stronger than love. As he sits across his daughter, confessing that he believed he was doing mercy to his kids by flying home on weekends, by making special places for them to play while on set, the gulf between intention and perception becomes heart-sickening. Because Ella's memory refuses those gestures. She recalls emptiness. Quin sees it more clearly. The balance was always off. Ben remembers watching the tension between his own parents behind closed doors, the mix of art and marriage, personality clashes, schedule conflicts. He says, "I probably fucked up more with my kids than my parents did with us." It's not a moment of self-pity. It's a confession from a man both haunted and humbled. When Ben and Christine Taylor separated in 2017, the strain was not just on their marriage, but on their children, the ones already bearing scars from neglect. Ben admits he felt disconnected, like a failure. The career had soared, but his personal life frayed. Reconciliation came during the COVID lockdown, and while they came back together, the pieces still needed repair. And the damage done in adolescence, he knows, cannot be fully undone. Public reaction to the revelations has been a mix. Some praise the honesty, some judge the neglect. Many point to the courage it takes for children of fame to expose the sometimes ugly truths behind the limelight. Others wonder if fame always means absence, and whether few actors escape this legacy. Still, both Ella and Quin have grown into adults, carving their own paths. Ella has had acting stints including a turn in And Just Like That, showing creative promise and confidence. Quin remains quieter, more elusive, but his voice in the documentary resonates with the pain and hope of healing. Through all this, the documentary holds the tension: love, regret, vulnerability. Ben doesn't hide behind celebrity. He doesn't present a sanitized mythology. He stumbles forward, acknowledging mistakes, seeking dialogue, hoping that despite everything, the family can rebuild trust. He tells his kids, "I feel like I have a really great relationship with you, but it's complicated and has at times been strained." And he leans into the discomfort, inviting them to speak, to challenge, to heal. This is not a story of blame alone, but of intergenerational echo. It's a story about legacy and how the patterns meant to be broken often repeat. It's about one man's attempt to face demons his kids already carry. And it's a story that ends, for now, with the possibility of repair, not erasure. If this story affected you, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.